And so it all starts with want. It all starts with your desire. And what happens is if you want that Gotti watch real bad, well, guess what? You have to exude above average actions in order to create the above average results and thus get your above average watch. Go get that Gotti watch, boo-boo.
Connected to Sales Remastered.
What's up, everybody? Welcome back to Sales Remastered. My name is Daniel and I'm your host. And in this episode on Monday, the 11th of June, 2018, I'm going to bring to you a brand new episode of Breakfast of Champions. And I'm coming through today to talk about a word that is going to not appear to be the same now that you understand a new way to look at it. Will never be the same. You'll never look at the definition of this word the same. As a matter of fact, you are going to stay away from it. And the word of the day, the topic of the day is average. Yup, average. And the reason why I want to really focus on this particular word and this topic is because it plays a role in all of our lives. Whether you're like uber successful, uber rich, or you're just, struggling to get by, like you're check to check. And how it plays a role in our lives is it's like, it's like people, right? Like there's just people everywhere, right? And everywhere you go, there's average. Every industry, every circle, every environment, everything that you experience in life, there is just average. If you think about something, like let's just talk about water, right? Like there's average water, right? The water that tastes borderline like tap water. And then there's premium water, like Fiji. Like, man, is this really water? You know what I mean? Like, and then you go something, up to clothes, right? You got average clothes, and then you got high quality clothes, and you got below quality clothes. Well, the same thing happens with mindset, attitude, and success, right? Like the overall success, of course, is the idea of success is above average. But wherever you are in your environment that you try to grow in, right, to find success, inside that environment, there will always be average present. And so I bring this up because it's important that we understand the power of average and what average does. Like, for example, the power of average right now, it's kind of like, it consoles you, right? Like it holds you, it comforts you, it makes you feel safe. And the reason why average does this, and think of average as kind of like this entity, right? Like this spirit. And the reason why, or force, right? Well, the reason why average likes company or why it protects you and holds you is because of your perception of average. And so, for example, like, of course I'm gonna use sales because I live in a sales environment. Everyone, of course, ideally wants to be paid above average. But since everyone's goal is average, meaning that most of the time they'll strive for average results, typically they'll fall below that and thus become below average. So it's important that I say that again. Everyone in sales ideally aims and guns for above average results, right? Above average pay, above average acknowledgement, above average actions and income and lifestyle. Take a look around, right? Like you go to your sales floor next, and of course you always got that one person that has the brand new headset, right? Or someone's desk who's bedazzled and's got like 3 of them lights that tell you you're on your phone. Like, bro, you didn't need 3 of them. But they got them, right? Or someone, like, even I'm guilty of it. Like, I got the Veridesk and I got 3 screens, right? But I still got the arms from Veridesk. Like, I had to go out because I didn't want, some people use blocks of paper, right? Like blocks of paper, like the, from the copy machine, man. Like the, blocks, man, what the fuck are they called? Packs of paper. And so they'll put like 3 of them on there and then put their screen on top. Not me, boo-boo. I had to get the arms from Veridesk, so I spent like an extra $300 just so I can have the screens come up in the air and I could be, like swordfish computer with my shit. Man, you remember Swordfish? Stop lying. You remember that movie Swordfish? Anyway, going back to the topic of average, the reason why it keeps you close and why it protects you and consoles you is because the way we believe average. And so we look at average, the way you look at average right now, the way we feel average is safety. That's it. It's comfort. And the reason why we are comforted when we think of average, to be honest with you, it's because of our elders. I mean, no disrespect to them, but we have to remember the kind of the generation that our elders grew up in. And so we're kind of pre-wired to feel this way because our elders, when I'm saying elders, I'm talking about like parents and grandparents, right? And primarily, you know what I mean, grandparents, shit. And so your parents were pre-wired by your grandparents. Your grandparents grew up in a completely different time, right? And so you have to imagine that, like, they didn't have the things that we have right now. And so when they were raising your parents or whomever, you know what I mean? Like, you could have been like me. Like, I grew up with cousins and uncles and aunties, right? Like, I didn't necessarily, you know, I'm not necessarily about my specific grandparents, but, or like my specific mom and dad, but I'm talking about the generations. And so your mom's generation, your dad's generation, then your grandparents' generation. And so anyway, your parents' generation was brought up by your grandparents, of course, right? And so you got to think, man, your grandparents, what year was that? Like 50s, 40s, some of us even 30s. And so we have to really consider that because this is where average comes in. And so our perception of average is far different than, let's say, someone who's at a much higher scale. And I'll use John Bezos, right? Like, his idea of average is kind of like him comparing the value of $1 million versus me comparing the value of $1 million, right? It's just not equal, bro. And so, when we consider the point of average and the I would say the temptation of average, we have to really think that we use average as kind of like our fallback plan, meaning that if we are average, it's okay. And we have been wired to think this way because of our parents, of our elders, is because all of the times that they told us, like, hey, don't put your eggs in one basket, it's okay, at least you tried, right? It's okay, don't worry about it, right? Like, when you get older, you look back at this and it's okay. Like, they'll tell you it's okay. And that's what I mean. So no disrespect against them because they just care about us. And so, like, I find myself doing that sometimes to my own kids is because it's a trickle from my elders and my elders, right? And so, of course, I want to protect them and console them and let them know that nothing can hurt them and that if they try, that's all that really matters. But the way that I'm actually hearing it is the exact way that, I remember hearing it as a child. And because of that, I have my own self, me personally, I have found comfort in being average. I've settled on average more than a few times. Like, I've left because I've had an average day and then justified the reason why I should be content with that average day. Because by me leaving early or me using the word or using the result of average to then justify my reason of not going all in or giving up early or throwing in the towel, I've referenced average as kind of like a plan B. Not only that, but when you aim high and let's say you fall short, right? And even though you didn't hit your goal, you're referring to average as a way of saying, hey, well, at least I did average, or at least I did better than average, right? Versus your goal. And so we use it kind of like just our backup plan. And that's all it should be. But I want to get you to a level where you don't want that backup plan. Like, average becomes the new loss to you. I want to help you get to a point where average becomes something where it's like, ugh, like dirty, like it makes you do that thing. And so if I can help you get to a point where you turn average into and you and I both, we can get to a level and a higher quality of experiencing life in this game called sales, to a point where all we do is blow past average, then I think we're a step ahead. But I want you to realize what average does. I want you to know I want you to realize what average looks like and what it sounds like. And what average sounds like is, it's okay. don't worry, I'm okay. I'll get it next time. That's average, right? Like average is, it's okay. I don't need that, right? Like, oh, that's not everything, right? And you might be thinking like, oh, but D man, come on man, like, do you really need that gaudy watch? If you need that if you want that gaudy watch, boo boo, that's the question. Do you want the gaudy watch, right? It's not a question of do you need it, right? Like we need air, we need food, we need water. Those are the things, right? So I'm not like, I'm not talking about those things. What I'm talking about is, do you want? And so it all starts with want. It all starts with your desire. And what happens is, if you want that gaudy watch real bad, well, guess what? You have to exude above average actions in order to create the above average results and thus get your above average watch. Go get that gaudy watch, boo boo. I got nothing but support for you. Whatever you want, whether you want a blinged out toothbrush or you want fucking, you know what I mean? Like just, I don't know, Yeezys to go to just use for the gym, right? Like whatever your goal is and you really want that, you go get it. Like don't fucking pay attention to average. Like don't pay attention to people that be like, it's okay, you don't really need it. Just settle with this one. Go settle with this generic brand. I don't want to be people calling you up, bruh. Like I don't want to be people looking at you and just thinking about up. Like you're not a generic brand, man. You're your own brand. Create your own luxury brand and create the premium that you deserve to charge in order to qualify for it. And there you will find your success. So I'll see you at the top. Bye.